Kolkata's Dr. Tinni Dutta, assistant professor from Murlidhar Girls College, conferred with Honorary D.Litt in social work. When asked, "What inspired you to enter into psychology?" Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, "Since childhood, I would love to analyze and perceive people's mind. Most of the time my perception becomes accurate. It gives me impetus for entering into psychology." When asked, "Since how long you have been into this psychology and in which cities you have been associated for administration, entrepreneurship, teaching, research, commercial and training programs," Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, "I have been into this psychology profession since 1991. 1991 to 2002, clinical psychologist and coordinator at Human Development and Research Institute, Kolkata. Having professional and administrative experiences with extensive research. 2002 to 2006, teaching experiences and consultancy, administrative experiences at West Bengal State AIDS Prevention and Control Society as a NGO advisor. From 2006 to 2020, in the Department of Psychology as a faculty in Ashutosh College, and 2020 to date assistant professor in the Department of Psychology at Murlidhar Girls College, Kolkata. When asked, "What are your future plans for administration, entrepreneurship, teaching, research and training programs in psychology?" Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, "Special emphasis should be given on positive psychology and community psychology, both in teaching and research." When asked, "Please introduce yourself and how do you want to be remembered, known in world?" Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, "I am Dr. Tinni Dutta, engaging myself as an assistant professor in Murlidhar Girls College. Apart from my teaching, I am associated with immense counseling services for the betterment of students and continually do research activities. I wish to be remembered as an academician, teacher and researcher and counseling services providers." When asked, "What kind of businesses can be started in psychology? What minimum infrastructure would it need?" Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, "Academic exchange program both at national and international Leveland Working Office and Research Fund." When asked, "What are your recommendations to improve the standards of journals publishing research articles on psychology?" Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, "Emphasis should be given on originality and innovations. Publication fees should be nominal." When asked, "What are your recommendations to improve syllabus of psychology for more creativity, applications and opportunities?" Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, "Applicative values should be introduced. For e.g. in teaching, reaction time, the concept of traffic signal should be taught." When asked, "What is psychology? What are the major branches in psychology?" Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, "Psychology is the science of behavior. Branches are developmental psychology, clinical psychology, educational psychology, neuropsychology, positive psychology, and health psychology, and so on." When asked, "What are your recommendations to frame guidelines on funding of research projects on psychology?" Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, "Originality, relevance, clarity, objectivity and novelty." When asked, "How can universities produce revolutionary PhD and postdoc thesis and dissertations on psychology? What are your recommendations to improve the academic standards?" Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, "Novelty, logical viability, implementation of proper research methodology should be the criteria." When asked, as per your international exposure and visits. What differences in psychology did you observe in people of different countries? Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, in Western countries in my arena teaching and counseling a short time. Bounded maybe 3 months. Cognitive behavior therapy, rational emotive behavior therapy are more popular, whereas in Eastern countries long-term psychoanalysis has still its role. When asked, how can students seek job and career opportunities in psychology? Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, from both print and electronic media, leaflet, brochure, kits of different seminars, conferences, workshops, and training programs and net services. When asked, what job titles are available in psychology, Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, counselor, career counselor, clinical psychologist, OB analyst, program manager, probation officer, child psychologist, criminologist and so on. When asked, which are typical employers in psychology, Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, hospital super, GB members of schools and colleges, chairperson of multinational company and so on. When asked, which are the courses available in psychology, Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, BA, BSc graduate, MA, MSc postgraduate, MPhil, PhD, different diploma and certificate courses. When asked, what are your views on mindfulness and meditation, Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, meditation is a technique that train the body and mind in such a way that we could achieve strength and serenity. Meditation enable us to be mindful, which is recognizing feeling without being caught by them. When asked, what are your recommendations to write a world-class research article in psychology, what essential components and factors must be there, Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, research problems should bear originality and relevance. Concepts should be clear and specific. Methodology should be adopted properly. Hypothesis should be judged accordingly. Interpretation and conclusion must be lucid and meaningful. When asked why Indian literature and architecture was demolished by Mughals, did literature played role in divide of India into Bangladesh and Pakistan, Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, beyond my knowledge. When asked how psychological crisis occurred during the lockdown caused due to COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, bereavement in family, loss of loved ones, anxiety of getting infected, social alienation, financial disturbances all result in psychological crises. When asked, what are your recommendations to establish a world-class research institute for psychology, Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, research institute should be comprised of renowned doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, social workers who all together do work to make their mission successful. Teaching, research, and implementation, all three should be connected with each other. The team should work devotedly. When asked, what are your recommendations to improve employment and scope in psychology, Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, infrastructure of psycholab are growing day by day in schools, colleges, universities. Scope should be expanded in neuropsychology, health psychology and positive psychology. When asked, what are your recommendations to authors who are writing books on psychology for more creativity and understanding of the subject, Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, authors should write in a simple and coherent manner. Content should be logically viable and manner of presentation should be attractive. When asked, what according to you are the top 5 major challenges, research problems, which need to be resolved urgently by world psychologists. In the area of psychology, Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that re-establishing psychosocial equilibrium in the post-pandemic period, perceiving the psychosocial illness from neuropsychological perspective, bringing peace at individual and societal level, enhancing and including different sorts of psychotherapy, developing innovative technique to reach the mass. When asked, what are your recommendations to improve standards of conferences in psychology? How can they be brainstorming and more creative? Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that the conference should be multidisciplinary in nature. Agenda should be more focused. Time management should be followed properly. When asked, which major challenges do you see to establish India as world leader in psychology? Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, at this juncture, India should lead all nations psycho-spiritually. We can conclude by uttering, lead us from dishonesty to honesty, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from mortality to immortality. When asked, any other thing you would like to share with world? Dr. Tinni Dutta responded that, thank you all for providing me such marvelous opportunity. Kolkata's Dr. Tinni Dutta, Assistant Professor from Murlidhar Girls' College, conferred with Honorary D.Litt in Social Work.